Welcome to Broken Teeth Records, Episode 3. Today we're going to be celebrating the 37th anniversary of what became a household name for Judas Priest, Screaming for Vengeance. And today is also going to be a very special episode because not only am I going to review Scream for Vengeance, I'm also going to review Judas Priest Live. 18 tracks, very badass live album. I mean, look at that. Even though two of the CDs go in here and covers up Dave Holland, the drummer, all in all, is a really cool shot of the band. Released in 1987, a year right after the Turbo album, Judas Priest became a little distant from its fans because they were using synthesizers, and some of the fans were like, "Oh man, we can't do that," because they want to go for a more generic sound. But as as Turbo and Priest Live came out, Priest were still as popular as ever, right before this album, like with Turbo, Defenders, Scream for Vengeance, which we will talk about today, Point of Entry, and British Steel, all that. But today, our main focus will be on the anniversary album, Scream for Vengeance, that actually really got them really big because of one track in particular. You've got another thing coming. I mean, it's a cool song, but when you hear it on the radio constantly, it just burns you out. But why not the Hellion, the opening track, like the 40-second opening track? You cannot hate that, especially the da 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 da, and it just transitioned to Electric Eye. And when you hear Electric Eye on how that song is, you're just like, oh wow, that song is really relevant on today's stuff. Like everyone's watching you and all that. But my personal favorite off of this is not only the Hellion Electric Eye, but also Pain and Pleasure and Devil's Child. And produced by Tom Allom, who actually produced many of Judas Priest's records, including the recent album, which will be Firepower. And I will tell you this, from experience from seeing Judas Priest, they were really cool live. Like, Rob Halford sounded just as good as he did in the 80s. And I had the pleasure to see Glenn Tipton on this tour after we've heard about him having Parkinson's, which is very unfortunate. But it was still really cool to see him, especially Richie Faulkner and Andy Sneap, their other producer off the Firepower album. I mean, Andy Sneap does a pretty good job on this tour. And Scott Travis, he's a Virginia-born guy like me. We're from the same town, but we don't personally know each other, unfortunately. And Ian Hill, he is the mainstay of Judas Priest. I mean, he founded Judas Priest, which not many people know. And now, on to the other album, which is a double live album, Priest Live. Released in 1987 on the Fuel for Life tour, which you can find many YouTube videos of. And my favorite track off of this, I actually have quite a few. I like Out in the Cold, Metal Gods, and The Sentinel. That is my all-time favorite Judas Priest song from Defenders of the Faith, which we will talk about in the future. And, of course, Electric Eye that opens the Hellion, Turbo Lover, Free Will Burning. I mean, even the bonus tracks, Scream for Vengeance, Rock Hard, Ride Free, and Hellbent for Leather, it's still a really good produced album, and it seems like a really fun tour. And my dad never got to see that tour, unfortunately, because he was still in high school, and he kind of grew up in a really strict household compared to his little boy. But if you have any recommendations for albums you want me to review, put them in the comments section, subscribe to me, and keep the heavy metal faith alive.